frazzled look.
Jim Tomsula is like Tom Hanks in League of Their Own, where
He's
always got the huge dip in his lip, and it's kind of like spit coming off the bottom lip.
What about Tom Hanks from Castaway with a dip in his lip? That's kind of what he looks like.
So he's like, if you were to take Tom Hanks from League of Their Own and blend him with Tom Hanks from Castaway, and then just put a dip in both of their mouths.
3 years on the island, Tom Hanks from Castaway. Yeah. None of this, I came back and I shaved.
And he thinks he can coach up a volleyball to play offensive line really, really well. We were just talking, though. It is funny, like the Red Zone channel, they just showed a guy motionless on the field. Some guy, I think for the Cardinals, who was unable to move his right arm, and he's just like, he's down for the count, and trainers are tending to him, and they're bringing the cart over. So they show, I think it was either 49ers or a Cardinals player, and they show him just motionless on the sideline. Trainers come over, and he can't move his arm, and they're bringing the cart over. But wait, we got to cut back to the Jaguars game here because the Jaguars are inside the 20-yard line.
Scott Hansen, man, he's got no conscience. He's great. I love Scott
I know we've got a player motionless, foaming at the mouth over here.
You might have Alan Hurns on your fantasy team. We got to get back to this.
Frank Gore is about to score his third touchdown of the game.
They'll flat out tell you then if he's paralyzed, we'll tell you on NFL Network on the highlight show.
Right.
After
we get done with every touchdown you see, we'll also show all the unconscious players. Looks like we ran out of time.
Flip to NFL Network to find out if he's paralyzed.
Case Keenum just woke up from last week. We'll get back to St. Louis.
He's a vegetable.
Oh, my gosh. Gentlemen, I'm going to read you something from May 1st, 2014. This was on DallasCowboys.com, but they just took and repurposed this. I think this is when the draft was like May 8th or something. And so this is a week before the draft. Todd McShay. Taking Anthony Barr in the top 10 picks would be a reach. Let me continue on from DallasCowboys.com. Apparently they were writing about this because everyone in Dallas was interested in Barr like mid-late first round. He wasn't bad. I don't want to give the wrong impression, McShay said. He's not very strong at the point of attack. He's not very good at setting the edge. That's like setting the edge is like the new NFL buzz phrase, I feel like. He's close to a one-trick pony as a pass rusher in terms of just a speed rush. His speed to power moves, they stall. They almost always stall out. In the league, those guys are so good at offensive tackle that if you can't beat them both ways, speed and power, you're in trouble. Anthony Barr, a year and a half ago.
He set the edge pretty good on that sack today to seal the game, essentially, did he not?
He set the edge really well when he was running 60 yards to knock a ball out of Tevin Coleman's arms.
With a broken hand and using his healthy hand to knock it
also broke
free,
up a play on a wheel route, but besides that, he had a bad day.
Yeah, he didn't set the edge on that one, though, as much. I agree with McShay.
No, he can't really run too well either. Well, you know what's fun? If you go back to the day he was drafted here, do you remember the amount of people locally who were upset because for some reason, they all thought, well, the Vikings play at Tampa 2. He's not a good fit for Tampa 2.
Right.
And a bunch of us said, just wait. We have no idea.
As opposed to, wait, maybe you should just trash the Tampa 2
which
and just
Mike
form
Zimmer was
something
doing.
New. Yeah.
That's the great thing about
Absolutely.
this is that there was this whole notion of he doesn't really fit. How do you know if he fits?
Well, I don't think the question was as much about a Tampa 2 because I think people knew Mike Zimmer's bringing in his scheme from Cincinnati. I think the question was he comes from a 3-4 in college, and that was kind of the thing. Was like, wait, he was a 3-4 standing up outside linebacker. Now you want to turn him, to get into the bread and butter. You want to turn him into a stack 4-3. It's something where I think we underestimated Mike Zimmer and what he could do with a player like that.
Well, if you have, it's draft day, and I know that we pretty much only have mock drafts and whatever you see. If there's scouting guru, like Daniel Jeremiah does an awesome job on NFL Network, but as fans, media, and a lot of the talking heads, too, you're pretty much just going off of second and third hand accounts of these players. So if you have a choice, and you and I, we talked about this, you and I both said on the day of the pick, reach? What does that even mean? If your two choices are talking heads with perfect hair who are getting their information mostly from second and third, scouts, they're doing work. They work their butts off. Or a 20-year defensive wizard who has a resume of top 5 and top 10 defenses. And that guy says, I don't know what the mock drafts say, but of all the players I've looked at, this guy fits our defense perfectly and is worth taking over a quarterback. Why wouldn't you trust the defensive guru in Mike Zimmer?
Yeah.
So it was amazing to me, even at the time, that he's a reach at, according to what?
And I think what we all talked about at the time that we liked was this was the first time since Spielman became GM that it was clear that it's basically a head coach that said, this is the guy I want. And so we liked that because our thought was, With Frazier, it always seemed to be a push and a pull, and that Rick would take his guy or try and take his guy. And we all said with Barr is, we don't know, but if a defensive guy is saying draft this guy, he might be pretty good. So,
for what it's worth,
I appreciated that fact.
For what it's worth, Mike actually told me Anthony Barr was Spielman's guy all along. Now, who knows? That could just be wanting to play nice with your new boss. But they like to deflect that.
Yeah.
He actually didn't wink. No, he didn't wink on that. Either way, though,
Teddy Bridgewater doesn't manage games, and Barr was Spielman's guy.
Either way, Anthony Barr absolutely is the teeth of this Vikings defense.
But he said it like he did this when he said it, actually. And he was looking right at the camera.
I am not lying. I am not lying. I am not a crook. I'm not lying.
Here's more from Todd McShay. I still have a late first round, kind of a fringe second round grade on him, but I just don't see that he's as good as maybe where he's projected to go. Some people still have him. I've seen and talked to many people who have him projected as a top 10 pick. That's a reach. I think you're taking a big gamble. Todd.
Anthony Barr is one of the most physically gifted linebackers in this league, and he's showing it. And Mike Zimmer is showing how he can use them. I think the biggest thing that I took away from this game, though, the Vikings win, and how they used Anthony Barr, was it wasn't just his pass rushing ability that was showing up. How many times have we seen Anthony wreck quarterbacks? That's kind of what we grew accustomed to seeing. You're seeing his game grow. You're seeing him deflect passes. You're seeing him chase down 50 yards on a running back to knock a ball loose. It's amazing to see his growth. And I think, like Mike Zimmer said today, the sky's got to be the limit for this kid.
I was looking at Julio Jones caught like 5 passes or something, and every single game that guy is targeted 15 times, 17 times. So I can't decide, was it the Falcons not forcing it to him as much as they should have with sort of a weird depleted secondary? Is Zimmer with these wizard-like defensive schemes getting to quarterbacks? I mean, it's for him to only be targeted 7 times in a full game. And Matt Ryan didn't even throw a pass in the first quarter.
Is Matt Ryan just a mess right now?
Could be.
I mean, Matt Ryan. Oh, boy.
Woof. That interception in the end zone to Terrence Newman, what was he looking at?
Nothing.
I mean, I know he was on the run. The pass rush got to him, but, man, he is looking like a bad quarterback right now.
That's what you get when you troll the Vikings with 1998 videos. They did pregame, and I believe during some of the timeouts, there's people from, like, Gessling was tweeting from the stadium. They were running the Michael Vick overtime run from 2001 or 2002 and all these 1998 NFC Championship Dirty Bird.
Oh, I didn't know that they took it beyond 1998.
Yeah, they went Vick in overtime.
That Vick run is a great run. Greg Beaker's still trying to find his jock in the Metro.
Now, did that include the fake crowd noise? Were they pumping that in while they were playing the videos? Because apparently there were a lot of Vikings fans there. You could hear them cheering on the broadcast at the end of the game.
This would be the fake crowd noise bowl, right?
I guess it would, with the metronome.
Because the Vikings never got nailed for that, though. That was just sort of folklore.
Yep.
But the Falcons, didn't they get a draft pick taken away and fined?
A couple years ago.
So it's always the second guy who gets punished, right? Vikings did the crowd noise for 15 years, and then they get their outdoor stadium, and now the Falcons actually get the draft pick taken away.
Falcons were actually there in 2001. This is a good idea. Or in 1998. This is a good idea.
But it doesn't, when you have the crowd noise amped up and there's like 30,000 people and half of those people are Vikings fans, it's pretty obvious.
It's not going to help that much. Exactly.
Rank for me, you guys, right now, Mike Wallace was officially not targeted in that game. He drew a couple pass interference penalties, but once again, a no-show. Charles Johnson's never on the field. When he is, he's a no-show. Confidence rankings of if a ball is thrown to this wide receiver or tight end or just in general for a full game, your level of trust in these guys to have a game. Rank for me your 1 through 7 in order.
I guess the top one would have to be Stephon Diggs, would it not? I mean, it would have to be Stephon Diggs. Number 2, with the way Kyle Rudolph's played, it would have to be Kyle Rudolph, I think.
And then
to be caught, then you go into the great abyss of what this Vikings receiving core is.
You
fall off the cliff.
No, you take the flusher and just flush it down the toilet. I mean, seriously.
Then the number 3 would be like ball boy that Teddy Bridgewater throws a ball away.
It might be Terrell, actually, their ball boy who's running all over the field for him at practices. It might be him. Adrian Peterson had the screen grab, but he dropped a pass that would have been a touchdown.
But Wallace is a bust. We know that. I think, to me, one of the most intriguing stories, lack of success stories for 2015 is Charles Johnson. I don't get it.
But he's not even on the field. I mean,
That's just it. I don't get why he's not on the field.
Because he's being used now, I think I saw it today, in that third down run situation where Cordero was used for a while, where they would throw Cordero out there just for fun. They used Charles Johnson on that, but you're not an option. But I have no idea. I get that Mike Wallace is a bust. I don't get what's happened with Charles Johnson because he also made that great catch in Chicago.
Yeah, the Vikings have been using him as that run blocking receiver, basically him or Adam Thielen. And you're right, more than half the time they're not even running a route. So I think it's puzzling to me, but I think it's Mike Wallace's paycheck that is keeping Charles Johnson off the field. Because ideally, in my opinion, right now Mike Wallace is not a good fit for what Teddy Bridgewater's doing, the way he's throwing the ball. He needs a taller guy that can go up there and get the ball. If they were playing their best guys right now in the way that fits their offense, it would be Stephon Diggs and Charles Johnson on the outsides. But right now, Mike Wallace makes $10 million to play for the Vikings.
How about Matt Asiata, number 3 on that list?
I think Jarius Wright would be number 3.
He does catch a couple.
Yeah, I think Jarius Wright.
I actually might trust McKinnon to catch a ball.
Yeah, and McKinnon.
If I had to. I mean, we're so far down that list now. Think about the amount of things that go into a successful passing game that they're lacking right now. There's no doubt in my mind that Bridgewater does hold the ball too long sometimes and doesn't feel comfortable trying to go to his first read. But that being said, boys, think about all the other little things that break down, and we don't appreciate them, but they all go into Bridgewater being sort of this nondescript, you can't put a finger on him yet.
That's a good point, but would you rather have Johnny Manziel and what he's done?
Oh, no.
The thing is to go over that.
Yeah, can we please do the look back a year and a half ago? Fran Tarkenton, Fran Tarkenton he was trying to tout Manziel as the next Fran Tarkenton, so there might have been some marketing in play there, but this is why you sound so stupid on draft day when you have this hardcore 100% sure take on a draft pick, right? That, well, if they don't draft this player, then they're screwed or it's an epic mistake.
Sure.
I mean, Johnny Manziel that's going to wind up being one of the biggest first round, but it's going to be a quarterback you make fun of for 40 years.
Which I don't get here. I don't think we can even get to the entire topic, but with Johnny Manziel, he's had 5 starts, right, in Cleveland? Not to get away from Minnesota too much, but do we know if he's a bust, or is he just incapable of putting a drink down, and that makes him a bust?
But if you can't even get on, if your behavior behind the scenes, put it this way.
But is it bad behavior, or is it I got a photo taken of me partying on a bye week and I shouldn't have?
But then he told his buddies to lie to the Browns about it. Something's wrong with it.
The thing is, if it's Rob Gronkowski partying and he wants to go fist pump and take his shirt off and go to 5 different clubs on a Saturday, that's cool because all he has to do is come in and catch a few passes and block. But if you've got 52 guys and a bunch of coaches and a bunch of other people in the organization looking at you for sort of guidance and which way is the wind blowing, and you're out ripping Dom on, even if it's a bye week, and then, like Judd said, when the team asks you about it, you're like, well, that photo is old. Well, that photo was from a year and a half ago. It's like, Johnny, there's actually a timestamp on it that says Saturday night.
And the Browns have told him specifically it's the bye week, lay low.
Where would he be partying in Minneapolis? I think Sneaky Pete's would be
7?
like...
No, 7.
7.
He'd be a 7
Seven's kind of... I feel like he's more
of a... Rick's Cabaret, something like that.
Is he a strip club guy?
Probably. I mean, Johnny Manziel?
I would say 7. Yeah, I'm putting Sneaky Pete's in my top 3.
Okay. Yeah.
And maybe Brothers 2 for 1s.
Yeah.
Like a Thursday night.
I could see
sneaking
that.
out after practice.
Him in Minneapolis. I see him upstairs at 7. I see him in upstairs clubs.
The last time I was at 7 was probably 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm not kidding you. I was upstairs. It was like sushi happy hour, but it was, I don't know, like 6 o'clock or something. Bryant McKinney rolls in. So this is probably like 4 years ago. Yeah. Bryant McKinney rolls in with 9 women. Big old B-Mac and 9 women just sitting on the couches in the corner.
Saw Chester Taylor there once.
And you wonder how he went broke.
Yeah, exactly. Such a smart businessman.
Yeah.